I'm showing you an example of how interesting you can make your simple model with textures. This is a little castle surrounded with animated goldfish that I made, and each one of these is actually an 8-frame animation, and these are all different texture files for all the different pieces. I'm going to go around the castle. It's actually a 3D castle. Woo! And lots of different colors. You could easily do something like this for your 3D environment. It's not that hard. In fact, let's look at the UV map and look at some of my forms. There's my 1024 by 1024, and there's that simple sphere. I did a simple projection map on that because there wasn't too much of a curve. Here I got a little bit more specific and broke it apart and sewed it so that I could use the textures the way I wanted to. Now look at this. I used my image pretty efficiently. I've got a lot of dead real estate here, but I didn't need to conserve very much in my pattern. But I did try to keep things interesting in my background. Let's try another one. That's a simple column. So see how fresh you can make your project look. This is all done with Photoshop and hand-drawn textures. Because I want your projects to look fresh, you're going to be required to create your textures by hand. It's not that hard. I want you to get used to it. It's the only way you're going to look different than everybody else submitting their demo reels. We're going to be getting those tablets out, and you're going to be painting stuff and cutting apart and sewing your objects. Here's another example of UV mapping to build an interesting environment. Again, these are simple shapes, much like you are able to create right now. All you need to understand is how to extrude, move your CVs, use your UV mapping, and then you need to be a little bit creative with your Photoshop. If you haven't watched Photoshop or learned it yet, you're going to be in trouble until you spend the 6.5 hours it takes to go through that lesson on Linda. Do it. This is one of the houses. I mean, as you can see, these are all of the textures I used. In your final exam, you're going to be limited on the amount of textures you use, so you're going to have to be more economical than I was. Click on this one. That's a birdhouse. And look at how I positioned everything to fit. Here, I wasted a lot of real estate because I wasn't outputting to a game engine, so I didn't have to economize. And there I made a little bit of an error. Let me correct that. I always make the same issue. I hate the UV editor. See? Fit it right in there. Okay, got knocked off somehow. Let's see another one. Whoops. So you can have a lot of fun making wild textures. I want hand painted, or I want something so uniquely stylized that everything fits into one art direction. If you have questions about art direction, we'll go over some in class. But it's basically picking a look and then making sure that everything is of that look. It's hard to explain that to a non-artist, but we'll go over a few well-known things. And those are my steps.